Welcome. This presentation will provide a walkthrough of the initial login to Bidnet and creating a new solicitation as a buyer admin. When you first log into Bidnet, you will see the solicitations list landing page. This will show all of the existing solicitations and their current status. In order to create a new RFP, you will click on the RFX Management tab at the top section of the screen. This will bring you to your main dashboard that will be your portal to both the e-procurement and CLM modules. While there are many useful links on this page, for the purposes of this demonstration, we will focus on the top left link labeled Create Solicitation. When we click this link, it will open a new page to begin entering the relevant details of our new RFP. You will see that certain fields are required, while others are not. Fill in as many of the fields as you are able, as much of the information will flow through to our RFP template document. As you can see, we are entering and selecting the following information: solicitation number, department name, project title, solicitation type, and contract type. The description box is a required field, but it is not mapped to our template. Because of this, we will just paste the title again in this box. The next section is sourcing details. NCTCOG does not use sourcing strategies, so this is defaulted to no, but the internal ID is still listed as a required field. So here we will duplicate the RFP number that was entered above. The next section on the page is the anticipated timeline. You will notice that other than the planned contract start date, none of these fields are required, as some may not be applicable. I would recommend entering as many dates as are known, since most of these fields are mapped to the template and will flow through to auto-populate in the RFP document. The next section is labeled Request Details and only becomes applicable when we receive a solicitation request from an end-user department. This is not the method we are demonstrating today, so we will ignore this section. The final section is the contract dates. The anticipated contract start date has auto-populated from the information entered above. We will add the initial term information and any possible renewal options for this project, and the expiration date will update automatically. The remaining sections on the page are not applicable to us at this point of the process. So now we will move to the bottom of the page and click Save. At first glance, it may appear that we are looking at a duplicate page of the information that we just entered. However, as you scroll down the page, you'll see that we now have an additional section under the contract dates for our solicitation draft document. When you click on the document link, it will open in Microsoft Word. You will notice that many of the fields we input into the initial Bidnet page have flowed through to populate into our draft document. For example, you see that the RFP number, title, and anticipated timeline dates have all been updated with our project information. There is additional information highlighted in yellow that will still need to be modified manually for the purposes of your particular project. You can make any necessary revisions and save the updated document. If you need to request review, modifications, or revisions from someone else, this is done through the collaboration section. These requests can be assigned to anyone within NCTCOG, as well as external collaborators. Within the document, you can assign specific tasks or comments to any collaborator, and they will receive an automated email notification of that task, along with a due date, if you have set one. Remember that detailed instructional videos that guide you through collaboration have been saved to the procurement training folder, so we will not cover that in more detail now. Once the draft document is updated with accurate information, go to the bottom of the screen and click Save, and then click Submit for approval. If you'd like to have any end-user departments or program managers review the final draft document one last time, you can route this to them to approve here. However, if you are confident that the document is complete and ready to proceed with publishing, you can change the approval method to None in the drop-down and click Submit. You'll see now that your status at the top changes to Approved Solicitation. At the bottom of the page, you'll simply click Send Solicitation to move it to the next step. In this final part of the RFP creation process, you will choose whether to publish the RFP manually or to set it to go live on a particular date. Further down this screen, you can also choose if you need to add any required vendor acknowledgements, pre-solicitation meeting teams information, and you will also indicate how you want vendors to submit their pricing, item-based, lump sum, or in an attached document, which is essentially asking them to submit their own price sheet. You will also choose if you want pricing to be submitted as part of the proposal, or if you want it locked as a second envelope to be hidden from the evaluators during the evaluation process. Once you have made these selections, click Continue. You will then select the appropriate NIGP or commodity codes that are relevant to your project. This is a pretty intuitive search function to help you find as many possible matching categories as possible. Once you have selected the appropriate codes and click Continue again, you will see a list of the suppliers that will be notified that match the commodity codes you've selected. In this test environment example, we have 57 suppliers. However, you still have the opportunity to add additional email addresses to known potential vendors for direct outreach. Once you have added any additional vendor information and click Continue for a final time, you are ready to publish your RFP. Click the Publish button in the top right corner of the screen. If you have selected to publish manually, your pop-up message will alert you that your RFP will now become active and viewable by suppliers immediately. If you have selected a specific go-live date, your pop-up message will confirm that your RFP will become active and viewable by suppliers on that particular date. Voila! Your RFP is ready to go. You will now see this RFP in your list of solicitations, along with the current status, which also shows the go-live and closing dates for quick reference. Soon we will move to the next phase of the process, setting up the evaluation tool for our RFP. So stay tuned.